Okay, it should be live. So before I go over there, I'm gonna wait until somebody shows up and ask them if they can hear you, just to make sure. Last time I was like 10 minutes in, and you notice that people can hear it. Other people in the stream. Okay, it should be live. I'm just gonna re-listen to it in the stream and see if I can hear it. Hello, Bud. Bud, can you confirm if you hear Faith for me? Faith, say hello. Come on.
Yo.
See if you can hear that yo. Once they can hear you, we'll start just kind of getting all this stuff set up. Well, I mean, it's pretty much already good. Hello, Bud. Bud, can you confirm if you hear Faith for me?
Wait.
Faith, say hello. Come on.
Apparently, the voice actor Kimpachi might not return.
Why?
For
Well,
English dub.
well, they replaced him already. The voice actor in like everything past Waco Mundo is a different voice actor.
For Kimpachi for the English dub?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. If that's the case, then it is what it is.
I only noticed when I rewatched it a year or two ago, and it was on the it was one of the filler arcs after that, and he's a different voice actor. Like everything past it's not the same. Different voice actor.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just a little low. Let me turn you up a little. I only noticed when I rewatched it a year or two ago, and it was on the it was one of the filler arcs. All right, Faith, can you give me another audio? Let's just say something real quick.
Yo.
Okay. I just turned your
So
volume.
which one was Kimpachi? David Lodge?
I don't know. I don't know what the first one was. I'd have to look up.
Who's the second one?
I have no idea. I don't know by voice actor names.
I know Tom Havercorn.
Who did Todd play in Bleach?
Yo.
Okay, they can hear you.
I don't think he played anybody in Bleach.
I was gonna say I can't think of any times where I heard his voice. So we got a couple people here. We got right in the Bud in the chat, and I wanted just to kind of go over the first part because I wanted to do this differently than like the other debates where it's just yelling feats. I wanted it to be more like chatting, so I figured that would be more entertaining. What do you think?
Say that one more time. I was listening. I went on the tangent because I needed to know. So I listened to the two voice actors for Bleach for Kimpachi, and now I see the difference. David Lodge and Patrick.
There's a slight difference. Like it's if you're not paying attention, you could miss it if you're rewatching it. We're not talking about Zerafanizen in this one, and we can do it on a different day. This is a different day. But yeah, so I wanted to do this more like a discussion, like if we're looking over, this was actually going to happen, we're kind of doing more predictions rather than just talking about feats. So I think that'd be more interesting. Cause just yelling about feats is kind of boring.
Yeah, it does go down that road. Did you tweet out?
Not yet. I was waiting to see if the audio was good. Because that only really works if it's like a big group and it's like you're really only debating over like, oh yeah, this one thing. It's just not as interesting. I think for more of a set fight. If we were just like on a stream and start yelling at each other, that's one thing. But at least these prepped ones, I want to make a little bit more civil.
All right, sounds good to me.
Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna tweet out the stream and we'll get the going. Okay. What do you think? What do you think would be the first thing we should discuss? I was thinking maybe just like from a narrative standpoint, the personalities between them. So I think that'd probably be the. I mean, that's pretty much in most cases the going to be the most important factor. How are these characters going to interact? Because you could have, like, and obviously, one shot where you could have a Dante Magnet situation where some dude's personality just screws him.
Well, I definitely think we can, right off the bat, say Zenon is one of those few characters that is on go from the start.
Well, both because Geer and Zenon both are, like, they don't have time to mess around. They got stuff to do. Even when they're not fighting too seriously, they're in control, which is pretty much like I think that we don't have to worry about any personality shenanigans between these guys. I don't think either of them is going to do anything really stupid. Both of them are pretty smart.
Yeah, I can't remember. Obviously, I can't remember anything from Zenon was pretty well rounded. He just got outplayed, whereas Geer very similar. He just got outplayed as well.
Yes,
led to both of their defeats. So
yeah, and neither of them. Yeah, and I was saying, it's like neither of them have anything that they would suggest they do something stupid that would screw them over.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think any of them would be like, yeah, just throw your attack at me. I'll just wait. I think they would be continuously moving and always trying to get stuff set up and planned out.
Yeah, but I will say Geer is a bit more playful than Zenon.
Yes.
Well,
I don't know. I'm wondering how much
against
there you go.
The Spirit King. He seemed like he very much enjoyed taking him on. Compared to Zenon, he's like always serious.
Well, he knew the Celestial Spirit King was gonna run out of his timer, so he was just waiting on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like it's wrong to be playful, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
he's definitely less, always serious compared to someone like Zenon, who's literally always serious the entire time.
Well, I wonder how much Xenon's devilness is gonna come into play. So I don't think he's gonna be as playful if he sees a guy with devil abilities. I don't know if he's gonna find it because he seemed to find it somewhat fascinating with Silver. So I would assume with somebody like Zenon, he's gonna get past that, like, this is some goofy human thing, and then actually put a little bit more effort. I think personality wise, Zenon has a little bit of the edge, but I don't think it's enough that Zenon would just get everything set up while Geer is just dumb. I think Geer at the start might be a little bit more playful, but I think at a point where their fight actually starts to move, I think they'd both be pretty smart about it, like not screwing around much. Like I don't think Xenon's seeing a couple of Geer's attacks and then keep his hands in his pockets. I don't think he's gonna do that.
Oh no, I don't think so either.
Oh, and there was okay. This is something actually I wanted to bring up because I wanted to talk about it because it's obviously important in context of the fight. Is what do these characters bring into the fight? Like what are they allowed going in? Because there's like for instance, Goku. If it's just Goku, it's just him. But if you give him logically Goku, like you say, like he has anything he would normally kind of have without having to go out of his way. So like King Kai could talk to him. That's not something that he has to do. Whereas like I think Geer, like in this case, I think Geer should get his cube because like he's on it all the time. It's his castle, it's where he lives, and it has to do this moveset. And I think logically, Zenon should have full contact with Beelzebub.
Okay, I mean that's perfectly fine. I'm trying to kind of figure out how much, because the thing with Zenon and Beelzebub is like he's like inside of them. There's really, I don't see any way you can stop his contact with Beelzebub.
No.
Whereas I don't know how much the Q for Geer is actually going to play a factor.
I mean, the Q's not gonna. That's not that much. I mean, it's unless Zenon decides not to dodge, which I think he'll be fine. I figured it would be relevant here, but also relevant for any future ones. But I figured it'd be like for Zenon in this, I figured it'd make more sense to start him in like 100%, but leave him the opportunity to double contract whenever he wanted to, because I think he would be able to do that in this fight. I don't know what would stop him. I figured it'd also be a little bit more. I figured it would be more useful for him in the fight if he went in this pre-double, because then he also would be able to heal himself pretty much at some point in there. Because I think it makes more sense with the setup for how he's structured, but also I think it would also balance a little bit because Geer, like Aetherius, get like a full heal whenever they transform. And I think it would make sense for Zenon. And there's nothing that'd be like Geer watches him before Zenon even makes the contract, because we know like inside their world with their devils, it like time moves faster there.
Yeah, there's really not a like lag of time between where Zenon made his contract with Beelzebub in that situation, because he got shot, and then by Yuno, and then in all, like, if you think logically, Yuno wanted to kill Zenon, but in that time he was able to make the contract and turn into a Devil Heart. So
yeah, because even if like Margear like stabbed him through the throat, we know that like unless you pierce Zenon through the heart at that point, then he's gonna heal. That's the only way to stop that point, is if you pierce in the heart, and Margear's not gonna know that.
Yeah, I mean, even in for Zenon, when he was fighting the first, like, even in was it 55% or 60%? I forget which one. And in his first encounter with Yuno, like, Yuno put a hole in his body, and he was still alive, and then he was able to transform to 100%, got fully healed, and then again put a hole in his body, and then was able to get his Devil Heart and then heal again. So it's gonna take a little bit, even if he's not full devil form, to actually like kill him.
Yeah, and that was another thing that I figured would be important, is the devil thing. So I completely forgot going into this the kind of mesh of like the Devil Heart thing. In fact, Margear's not using magic, and he's using curses, as well as it's like a devil ability. So he has the potential, like if he just straight pierced up Zenon's heart. But I didn't think that would be, like, even with the advantage of like potentially being able to end him if he gets the hit off with his curse power. But I mean, that only really does it if he hits the heart. Like if he cuts off Zenon's arm, it's just gonna come back.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think it's one of those things where, like, I'm sure like it's gonna be something for like all the devils in Black Clover when they reach a certain extent with their Devil Heart, that regeneration is just like kind of a constant, unless you're facing off against like Asta. Other than that,
It's like a core. You gotta kill the core.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I understand. But for Geer, like, it's been a while since I've seen the Geer versus, Celestial King versus Natsu and Gray fight. Like, is it necessary? Because I know Gray pierced him with his attack. But I don't know if it's necessary to pierce his heart or anything.
No.
I just know he pierced him.
No, you don't have to do that for Geer. You have to do that for the Aetherius.
Okay.
The only thing with that is he doesn't have like a healing thing, but I mean, strength-wise, Geer definitely has better strength, but I don't think that's really going to be much of a factor here. But in terms of stamina, like he fought for like 30 straight chapters, like for a day and a half straight, was just fighting people, and he never got tired, and he did it like in base.
Talking about Geer?
Yes.
Yeah, but at the same time, I kind of think of that like you said, he was in base, so I don't know how much he was actually trying. Like, for example, Zenon took over like the entire Diamond Kingdom, and didn't really break a sweat. We don't know how long it took him. Like situation where it's kind of like relatively easily, I think they can fight for a very long time. Whereas if they're like going all out, I don't know how long. I don't know if it would equate to like a day and a half for either of them, to be honest.
Well, you gotta look at who they're fighting though. Like he was fighting like fodder people, like nobodies, and Geer was fighting like the Celestial Spirit King, who was bloodlusted and pissed off.
Yeah, I definitely think he tried to an extent, but at the same time, like you said, he knew he just had to wait him out.
Yeah, I mean, he was still stronger. I mean, he was like dancing around sex, no problem in base form, and like before he even put his book down.
Oh no, I believe that. I believe Margeer was still stronger in that moment. But like I said, I'm just saying, like, I don't think he was that concerned to go all out against the Celestial King because one, he was stronger, and two, he had to wait him out. And very similar to Zenon because he took on not only William, he took on William and but didn't really try. It was relatively easy. Then he captured Yami. I don't know how long that entire span took, but he did all of that and was able to return like without like any worry or stamina
Well, I didn't see him very long.
depletion. I'd say that took a decent amount of time because he showed up to the Golden Dawn, did everything with William. William actually fought back. You know, he used his roots and everything, trying to save people and everything. Too, he actually fought back for a little bit, but Zenon didn't really try that hard against either of them. And then he captured Yami relatively easily, and then encountered the Black Bulls. So.
I mean, but even by his longest fight, it's like with it's like a half hour plus.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know if that's the longest fight. Like in terms of him actually like doing stuff.
I mean, at least from what we've seen, comparing the stamina.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's going all out. Because at the same time, even if you wanted to argue that, the Zenon fight was the longest, it's not like he ever was tired in that entire fight.
No,
he was pretty full of energy the entire time.
But the whole stamina thing that was very important is he, as using curse power though, his stamina is going in this pretty much fully good because absolute space is going to do nothing, which is one of the bigger edges that he has.
Because he doesn't use magic, or
yeah, he doesn't use magic at all.
So curses are not fueled by magic at all.
No,
like mana or anything.
No, they started connect the magic and it broke off and became a completely different power system.
Okay.
It's it's not fueled by ether nano at all. So absolute space is it's there. It's not doing anything.
So does Margeer have any magical attacks?
No. All curses.
I mean, I guess that's fine because even if you felt like someone like Megicula, I wouldn't, or like Vonica, like, you can even say Vonica. I can't guarantee that absolute space is taking away the curses. I could guarantee probably the blood, but I don't know about the curses. So
it should because curse magic in Black Clover is a type of magic, whereas like curse power is completely different. It's a whole separate thing. Like he was by something that erased magic in the area, and he was fine.
I'd say at the very least, it seems like curse magic in general, yeah. But the way Megicula uses it could be like very different, especially considering she's like the father of all curses, so to speak. And then obviously you got
what's this? I mean, Asa's still affected, so it's still gotta be way more magic rooted. Like Asa's still affected curses, so he's gotta be way more magic rooted still.
But we didn't see him counteract like the more powerful curses because he could not disable Lord Pachika's curse. Remember that he couldn't.
Yeah,
and,
but it's
I don't even know if he'll be able to disable like whatchamacallit. What's her ultimate curse thing? I use it all the time.
Her decaying world.
Yeah, I don't think Asa will be able to deal with that either.
Well, Asa was fine in that. Didn't even affect him. It'd be like
never won against decaying world.
He was there. Decaying world was up. It'd be like
he was there, but the decaying world was never like used on him.
I'd have to go back and look. I remember being always up during air fight. Like it was up the whole time.
Yeah, it's up, but it's not like it's up. She uses it to counteract like things that are going against her, but it's not like she used it on Asta or anything.
I don't know what it would do. It's like the same thing. Like if Margeer walked in the episodes, it'd be the same thing as like Asta walking in. It's just the function isn't there.
I think it will because like if the curses that was put on Lord Pachika was so powerful that Asta could not do anything to it, and I don't see a reason why Decaying World wouldn't be somewhat similar in terms of its like properties and its power.
Well, that's
versus
a Asta potency thing though. That's base Asta against Magicula.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was a magic curse power thing. That is Asta in base is not strong enough. Like if Asta was in Devil Union, I think he would have been fine.
I don't like at the same time. I'm not completely sure about that.
Oh, we saw
We
saw him in base affect a weaker curse. So I'd assume a stronger Asta could affect a stronger curse.
Well, we never seen him go against like Magicula's top curses, like Decaying World, like the curses she put on Bonica, Lord Pachika, and whatever.
I think there's enough evidence because we know curse magic is still it's just a variation of magic. It's still magic. We know base Asta could do it. We know Asta works by potency. It's not like anti-magic is a full null. I think there's enough to at least go off of.
But at the same time, we do know that there's a certain extent to where like the devil's power is, makes it beyond like reality. Like we had the twin devils at Fire and Ice that is like burns or freezes concepts. We had
These guys are
of course
clowns.
Zagred doing what he did with his word soul magic, even creating like solid objects with his word soul magic. And for Magicula, like we know curse magic, sure, but Magicula is like the father of all curses. So, I that's why I put her with the possibility, putting it like a step above, of like normal curses. Because at the end of the day, we've never seen Asta do anything to Magicula's top curses. We just haven't. So it's really hard to say.
Yeah, but we saw like the weakest Asta in his weakest right now affect a lesser curse. I just don't really see what like I don't think it's that weird for like Asta in base to be able to affect it. We know that Asta in Devil Union is like around range of Supreme Devil. We know that his anti-magic is purely a potency based thing, and we know that a weaker Asta already affected it. So I don't know. It would seem weird for him at that point not to be able to affect it, considering it's still within his line of being able to affect it. There's evidence showing he can. And again, this was the weakest Asta. This Asta, like it was most base.
Again, I'm still leaning towards it's possible that the other way, especially considering how long he's been with Lord Pachika, and there's no instance that Asta indicated that he would be able to break the curse.
Oh, he was only there.
At any point.
He was only there for like 5 minutes.
No, I'm talking. He's been with Lord Pachika for a very, very long time. That's what I'm saying.
Oh man, at that point, but at that was pre Devil Union Asta though. Like over those 6 months.
But even then, when he met her, it's not like there was ever any point where it seemed like he was be able to like dispel Lord Pachika's curse. Like he never indicated such. So it's really hard for me to say otherwise, because obviously Noel and Nozel were once they defeated Magicula, the curse got lifted, but also just kind of taking care of Lord Pachika's body at that point.
I mean, Asta at that point was not strong enough. It's potency based, so if Asta just wasn't powerful enough in order to take on a Supreme Devil curse.
But at the same time, we've said that once his arm got subdued, it can imbue like pure anti-magic.
Like right now,
up against Dante.
Like if Devil Union Asta went up against the version of Vonica that cursed Lolopechka, I don't see any of her curses not getting canceled out. Like I don't see him having any problems with it whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure about it. I don't know because like I said, when it comes to like Decaying World, when it comes to like curses on that tier, Decaying World and the Soul one she did with the Lord Pachika Vonica and what's her name? At that point, I'm just not convinced.
What's the solution? Should we ask chat? You think we should get a third voice on this?
Yeah, I mean you can ask them for sure.
How should I word it?
Probably not even relevant to like the main discussion, but
let's see a tiebreaker.
It's an interesting thought.
How should I word it? Would absolute space work on Geer and his curses? All right, I'm putting it out. I'm putting it out in the thing. It's in the chat. poll. So,
Well, I was never arguing that Xenon's absolute space would work.
oh, I thought we were just talking about. Cause I just figured because that's a regular thing that he's gonna have in his moveset. So it's well, if you're gonna put someone against Zenon, I think that has to be addressed because that's something he's probably gonna have active in like 99% of fights.
Yeah, because that's kind of like a passive thing for him, putting up absolute space against any opponent he takes on. And it's really, especially unless you initially just know to be very far away from Zenon, you're automatically going to be put into it.
He just covers the full zone.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it is pretty interesting. Like that's why I was trying to equate his curse power to something in Black Clover. Like, there's really nothing compared to.
Well, that problem is Fairy Tail's curses went the way of Black Clover's curses, but then eventually they just broke off entirely, so it's not connected. So that argument is kind of hurt.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm kind of like, there is curse magic in Black Clover, but then we know that there is like a definite tier above where Asa can't do anything to that we've seen, and that was Magicula's certain specific Magicula curses. So that's why I'm curious.
I'll leave the poll up right now. We got 8 votes. Come on, people. 75% no said no. 25% said yes. We'll just wait and let that roll. What else should we discuss in this? I mean, for the most part, their general attacks are going to be super. Zenon throws bones and Margeer's throwing thorns. They're just kind of trying to stab each other.
Yeah, but even though he can't use absolute space, his spatial abilities are definitely playing an effect in terms of like how he can like trap people. He can teleport himself. So it's still part of his arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, he can still do stuff with it.
That's what made him so dangerous against Juno in the first place, considering how fast it was able to create those mini pocket spaces and then completely surround Juno with bones and pierce him everywhere. Like, if it was fast like that, it's very impressive considering Juno has actually very good reaction speed for Black Clover.
What I'm trying to think. What are all of Xenon's like regulars? Like, I know he's got general bones. It's actually funny to think about. He has like 3 name spells. He just has all this like giant bone spam. And for the most part, a lot
of name spells.
I mean, he's got the bone spam. He's got the teleporting, absolute space.
Pocket spaces were bones.
Yeah, the pocket spaces.
Obviously Dan Slave.
He's got Dan Slave as his win con. Ashi's Earth is what Zenon. We explained it earlier in this. It's like Zenon pre-Devil, but he is the full ability during the fight to make the contract. Just think of it to be like 100% Zenon in his Uno fight, but it's against Margeer instead.
Yeah. I mean, he can use his bones in like any way. He uses it as whips, uses it as spears. Bones have multifaceted like purposes for Zenon. There's not all of them named.
Well, I was trying to think of all his spells that would be like obviously like general bone stuff, but I feel like Margeer's general attacks and Zenon's general attacks are like mostly the same. They just spam like bone spam and thorn spam. But and then Zenon's other stuff. He's got his portals. Dan Slave's one of those 99% of the time useful abilities. It's hard to get around that. Does he have any other like really good spells? He really only has 2. He's got 3 named spells. Really?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, 4. Forgot his spatial rupture. His big spatial slash.
Yeah.
I wish he had more spells.
Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of time he didn't really need name spells when he was fighting against people.
That's always good though, is to have more spells. There's like, because when it comes down to it, I feel like most of their fight, like Zenon has regen, and he's got the portals and stuff. Markier's got stamina. He's got, general strength and durability, but it's the durability increase isn't going to be too much of an advantage when Zenon has high speed regeneration. So I figured it would mostly come down to like Dan Slave and Memento Mori. But I don't know if I figured it would take longer to get to this point, but it's like their personalities are both pretty straightforward. Both of them fight very similarly in like how they auto attack pretty much. And yeah, most of a lot of the trickier stuff in this fight I think gets out the window because like Allegria does nothing because Zenon can fly out of it. He can just fly and not get merged into the cube. Absolute space. Obviously, he's not going to affect Margear the same way as it affects regular people with magic. Like two of their really good abilities are kind of just not there.
But I mean, I definitely think because like the attack that he used that was like a pivotal moment in a lot of the fights he was in was his high speed pocket dimensions. That the only way you can get out of it was instant teleportation with Finral and teleportation with
Well, see, the problem with that one is it's like it's a cool move, but at the end of the day, he is surrounding you with stabs. He's gonna stab the shit out of you with his bones.
Yeah, but I think it's more so how fast it's done more so than anything because that's why I say you can't
yes
you have to teleport out of it because you can't react it fast enough to get away from it.
So it's gonna bring out. I think Margaret can tank it. I think he's gonna be fine.
You think he can tank those bones?
He was a massive tank. He was taking direct hits the whole time and he never took damage. Like he was parrying sword slashes from like the Celestial Spirit King. He's getting hit by Natsu the whole time. Like he got hit in the face by Natsu's lightning fire dragon firing hammer, like fire and lightning to the face, and took no damage. And he did it in base.
I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I do think there's like a difference in terms of like things that pierce your body.
He got hit by a piercing attack. He got hit like direct by one of Gray's Guncaners, like in his chest, and it did no damage. Even Kyoka took a lance to the gut and all the way through the cube through its center point of gravity, a piercing attack, and it did no damage. Like the Aetherius were just built different.
But at the same time, we haven't seen anything really tank the stabby of his bones other than Yuno's Star Shield.
Well, Black Clover characters aren't really known that much for durability.
But at the same time, we don't know the extent of how well they can stab things. Because obviously, everything is powered up for his bones, everything. Obviously, his most powerful technique is Dance Leaf, which combines the bones and spatial magic into one like super powered weapon. But at the same time, we really don't know how powerful those bones can really.
I mean, as far as we know,
those bones are.
Oh, we can look at like Zenon's like upper feet, so you could look at like the strongest person he's defeated. That's more of a speed based thing. I don't see it really doing much to Margear. Like durability was one of this dude's main things. It's just being this big metal pole that you can't knock down.
I mean, I would agree if it was like
this was him in base. That was like the crazier part.
I would agree if it was something like blunt, but like my thing is like something blunt hitting you, you could take a lot of damage and still get up. Versus something that stabs you, the only reason why it hurts is because it enters your body. That's what I'm kind of going with.
I'll give you a feat from someone way weaker than him with like cannon way lower durability is when Kyoka got pierced. And Kyoka doesn't even have the second highest durability. Torafusa has higher durability than she does, and Margear is more powerful than he is. And he's able to do stuff like take like direct stabs and slashes from Gajiel. Kyoka, like I said, she took a lance through the gut through the cube and its center point of gravity, and took no damage. I'll post the feat. It's like
yeah, let me see it.
It's like
I mean, depending on the feat, I mean, I probably could argue Zenon's bones could be stronger.
I don't know about that one. We'll see. One sec. This is what, 373? Where am I looking? I'm one chapter off. Yep.
Because the thing about Black Clover, I mean, I guess similar to Fairy Tail, to an extent, is a lot of the more powerful characters don't lose because someone's stronger than them. They lose because someone had the ability to beat them.
It depends on the fight. There's a lot of people losing just because strength.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like some of the upper echelon, like Zenon. For example.
Look at this. So she took a lance, piercing attack through the gut, and did 0 damage. And this is somebody this isn't even the second highest durability in their guild.
I say Zenon's bones can pierce.
Like it went through a small island and it did no damage to her. Imagine somebody puts a spear through your gut for like 3 miles of land and it does nothing. And that's base Kyoka as well. Like this is way below Geer.
But I'm trying to think, like 55% Zenon was piercing things relatively easy. Like he was piercing through William's World Tree magic easily. And then 55% to Devil Heart. Like the gap between those two individuals is monumental. So it's like if he could pierce World Tree magic, which is one of like the biggest magics in Black Clover that we've seen, and with ease, albeit, then if
does Williams I don't know if piercing World Tree magic is impressive as piercing a giant cube island and taking no damage.
But that's not where I'm going with it. Where I'm going with it is 55% Zenon did that, and then Devil Heart Zenon is like the percentage is probably ridiculous. How much more powerful he is than 55% Zenon.
I mean, keep in mind the gap between that Zenon and like full Zenon, and then like this is base Kyoka taking no damage. And then you have Geer, who starts out as low as possible. He's in base. He has one hand, and then he puts his book down, and then he eventually goes to theories. There's multiple steps. On top of that, I can show a follow-up feat actually to this one. The piercing. This is a piercing attack. Like I said, light to the gut. Geer used his thorns, which are primarily piercing attacks as well, but he just used them to restrict Kyoka, and it did way more damage. Like, he's not even using this thing's primary way of fighting, and it did more damage casually in base than what a lance through an island did. So, just wrapped her up, not doing what this thing is made to do, and it's completely, it's ripping apart her body, she's bleeding, it's tearing up her armor. Like, this attack did more than a island piercing lance. In base, bear in mind. This
I will say
it's like playful.
I would still argue Zenon can do the same thing.
We got no feats to suggest that, my guy.
That's why I'm like upward scaling, because that's what you have to do. Because we didn't see the limit of Zenon's bones. The only thing that stops Zenon's bones is Star Magic Shield.
I mean, he can scale up. I don't think he has anywhere where he's got any bone attacks that are like in terms of just like piercing potency, because obviously his thing isn't single attacks. I don't think he has any besides Dance Slave single attacks that are gonna do that level of damage.
But at the same time, like in terms of like raw strength, in terms of like what their magic puts out, William is definitely up there, right? He definitely had, with his World Tree magic, like he can create huge trees that are huge and powerful, of course.
Island-sized trees?
Who?
Island-sized trees?
William?
He's not making that big of trees. They're like the size of towns.
He can, but he can cover. He can cover a city. He covered.
It's not as impressive as an island.
I know. So if we could say like it was covering cities for William, I won't say with ease. It took effort to cover a whole city, but if he could do that,
he had to absorb a bunch of people's mana, didn't he?
Well, for that one situation, then obviously he created another tree for the capital, so Asa can do what he had to do. Um, but for the one, yeah, like I said, he did have to absorb mana to get it that big. So to be fair, if that's the case, then William's spell can reach higher limits. But at the end of the day, we can say the world tree can reach up to city level, added to max. Obviously, you need the power of mana, but you could also argue that the Golden Dawn were fueling William in that situation. But
Yeah,
that's
but I could agree, but I mean, like city level is like nothing to base Smart Gear. That's where I've been trying to like allude to this. Like this is still like even if you go off this thing, this is still not like it's not enough to fit this ballpark for
no,
Smart
no,
Gear.
that's
Yeah,
fine. But that's 55% Xenon that was doing that.
I
That's
know,
why.
but
That's why Devil Heart Xenon and 55% Xenon are like I said, gaps.
the
Like
gap.
Boreas beat 55% Xenon with ease. Devil Heart Xenon was easily washing Xenon. Fenrir Langris, ease, like not no effort.
There is a gap between those, but I mean, like I don't see the gap between 55 and full power Xenon being nearly as big as the gap between base Kyoka and full power Smart Gear.
I don't know.
Like this is somebody fodder to him in base. Like this is somebody who in his base form is fodder to him. That he hasn't even put his book down and he's completely trashed her. He like I said his attack doing constriction damage when it's a piercing attack did more than a piercing attack that drove drove through an entire island.
But also the thing is, Black Clover actually it stated the fact that 1% of increase was like a huge boost in terms of devil power.
Yeah, but it's something we can quantify though.
But we, at the very least, we know that it's a huge increase. So he increased 55 more, 45 more percent. Almost messed up the math right there. 45 more percent more, and then he made a Devil Heart contract, which we don't even know how much that boosted him from 100% to Devil Heart. But we probably could definitely say that he went from, at the very least, arguably less, just below Supreme Devil, or even like a good number below Supreme Devil, to definitely Supreme Devil level. And even the Supreme Devils have like different levels in terms of the different gates, of course. So I don't know. I would say the gap is.
I'm not get that, but like all we know is that each percentage is a buff. There's nothing to say. Like we don't know anything that gives us a number. We don't have any idea to really gauge it off of. All we know is that it is more. But that's like the Ethereus form is more. But I'm like, I don't think there's any concrete numbers. It's like the same problem. It's not like a times 5, times 10, or whatever.
Yeah, it's not like Dragon Ball, obviously. So it's really hard to say. But at the very least, that's what I would argue in terms of like. You can make the case at the very least that Xenon's bones have extreme piercing potency.
I think they do. I don't think they are as. I think this opponent that just has better. He has better showings of specifically piercing, and like I said, though, Xenon's thing isn't singular attacks. His is lots of attacks. So I do think he's. I think he's a little bit of a disadvantage this part, but I think it's more. I think it's more of just because it conflicts with how he fights rather than a lack of feats.
Okay, so although I mean I guess it's one of those points that truly can't be proven in terms of the piercing ability of Xenon's bones, but at the very least, what would you say in terms of consistent hits of the bones to his body and the same similar parts of his body?
What do you mean?
Like if the bones kept on stabbing, because it's like thousands of bones continuously trying to stab him.
He just go to his Ethereus form and uses like he has the thing that King has where his wings pretty much are like shields.
So you said you would just start blocking at some point.
He could block, yeah, he could block, or he just like AoE attack it.
Because I wouldn't go as far as to say that he'd just be walking through the bones and it's not affecting him.
No, I think he's gonna be deflecting and like fighting back. I don't think he's gonna stand there and they're just gonna bounce off.
Okay, all right. Well, at the very least, would you say if he got trapped in that space that he would take damage? If he got...
I think it'd be like chip damage, where like each one is gonna hurt, but it's not a lot, but he's getting a lot of these. Like he's gonna slowly, it's like an attrition thing.
Okay, at the very least, I'll concede to that because at the end of the day, credit to Mark Gear and his durability. But to be fair, we don't. Zenon can do that quite a bit. So obviously, Mark Gear will start strategizing for it. Like the first time, he probably could get caught. After that, he would have to start being looking out for it. Those pocket spaces.
What do you? So this is the bigger thing. I think that this match is gonna come down. This is the biggest thing. Unfortunately, because these guys don't have a ton of moves, and two of their go-to unfairs, Alegria and Absolute Space, they're pretty much non-factors here. How do you think when it's gonna go when it gets 100% or Devil Heart Zenon, but there is from Mark Gear, and you have Dan Slafe out, and you have Memento Mori out?
All right. Well, first, can you describe? I mean, Dan Slafe is very, very simple, and I haven't seen Memento Mori in a while, so can you kind of describe it?
Yeah, he puts his hand out. It makes an AoE around his opponents, and then it's like mist or fog that kind of comes towards them, and it paralyzes them. So you get by if it touches you or gets close to you, you can't move anymore.
Okay. So
and then it bypasses the concepts of life and death and erases somebody from existing.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that. So the thing with Gray obviously counteracted because he had the perfect hacks, right?
Yeah.
And then
That's like this. Yeah, it's the same as like
not
guys.
yeah. Not to avoid it.
No, he only got saved because Gray.
So Gray saved him.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So okay. All right. And obviously we know what Dan's Lift can do. Especially when he uses spatial ruptures, he can cut space. It cut star magic, like all his star magic abilities, or little stars that can create very powerful weapons for Yuno's disposal. So it was cutting through magic, it was cutting through space, very, very powerful. Obviously, if Yuno got hit, he would have died. I mean, know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Okay. So it really comes down, but okay. So does Memento Mori hit you if you're not on the ground?
I mean, as far as we've only seen it cast at people. I don't think it comes from the ground, because even when it actually goes off, it goes straight up in the air. So it's got range, and he did it from afar. So I would imagine it's like he's got to touch him, or if it's like only works on the ground, I don't think that would make sense.
Okay, because I do remember it was kind of like it looked like it was coming from the ground, but if it's casted upon them, like how would you?
Here, I'll post the panel.
How would you see it like hitting Zenon if it could?
I think he just AoE. He just surrounds him in AoE. This is the one though. I think was the hardest fight, or like the hardest to really look at for this fight, because I'll look at Dan Slave in a minute, but like one thing that's kind of going to be unfortunate for Zenon is we know that Zenon isn't dumb, but once he got his Devil Heart, he stopped dodging as much. He's not as reckless as Dante, but he's clearly not as concerned. That's the best way that I can say it.
But I'll say at the same time though, like, would you consider? I would say you would consider Mardigir's abilities to be able to kill him if he got like a certain good shot on his heart or something. So I think Zenon would take that into consideration, because until Yuno got Saint Stage, he had no way to kill him. Despite everything that was happening, Zenon still knew he had no way to kill him. He just knew he had to get rid of the stars.
Well, I don't think Zenon's gonna be too reckless. My wonder would be like I know Zenon would have to know that like the curse that Mardigir's doing could affect his heart in order to do it. I wonder if he'd be able to figure it out during the fight if Mardigir never brought it up.
But I feel like he would get a sense that his power is different, because even in
yeah, he probably wouldn't sense magic, so he'd probably ask, and then Mardigir would be like, "Oh, curse power."
Yeah, even in the fight, let me think of an example.
Well, I think that would just make sense. I think Zenon would ask, and Mardigir would be like, "Yeah, okay, I'll just tell you."
Yeah, but like we've seen characters in Black Clover consistently, like when they recognize that something could actually kill them. Obviously, anti magic being the prime example for like Zagrid and Dante, realizing that anti magic might kill me, and let me start dodging the anti magic attacks. Even the Twin Devils, once they realize that anti magic might kill me, let me
Oh,
start getting
that was
weapon.
not Nama. Dude got his hand
Yeah,
cut off before he started fighting.
but eventually they figured that out. In the fight with Geer, obviously Zenon probably won't let him just get hit from, especially since he probably would recognize Geer is powerful. But even if he got hit by any attack, he would realize, this could actually affect me.
See,
You know?
part of the problem though is with Mentor, it's an AOE, it's an enclosing AOE that if it touches you, you can't fight back. You're done.
But at the same time, my only thing with this, which is also kind of like benefits Xenon, because considering he lost because of this, is he can teleport. He can move with his spatial magic.
He can't teleport.
So
I mean, he definitely teleport. The question would be at that point, like I think Martin would be fine setting him up because one thing is Dan Slave, though good, is I don't see it being that big here.
well, if he go ahead.
I was gonna say there's already pretty much a Dan Slave in Fairy Tale, and it's not that big of a deal.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I'll start off with this. I think it's very possible that Xenon can avoid Memento Mori because considering how fast we know his spatial magic is. We know it's extremely fast beyond Yuno's reaction speed, regardless. So, as for your sword thing, that's another topic. So go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say so one thing that's a problem is though before even getting talking about like Ikaruga is Dan Slave is good, but at the end of the day, it's limited as a sword. You have to you can only use it as a sword slash. So as long as like even if Margier didn't know what it did, if he just took it as don't let this guy's sword hit me, he's probably not gonna let it hit him. Or maybe. I mean, it can depend. But I mean, like also there's the fact that with well, the thing that's gonna screw more is like I said, the sword is limiting on range. There's a lot of benefit to it, but there's also, like I said, there's a lot of restrictions. Whereas like you get touched by Mental Mori once and you're done. There's no like you could get your hand cut off by Dead Slave and keep fighting. Like if the mist touches you from Mental Mori, then you're paralyzed and you can't move. You lose all movement, and then on top of that, like I said, Ikaruga essentially had what Dan Slave had. She essentially had the same sword, and it's not that big. Like, so this is one of those things where it's like healing for Black Clover. It's a big deal in Fairy Tail. It's not a big deal in Black Clover. And I think that the other thing that made me a little upset was when I thought about Absolute Space. I knew Dan Slave wouldn't be as big, but then Absolute Space getting nulled was the thing that turned this fight a little bit more for me. It was way more balanced when I initially was looking at it, but at that fucking Absolute Space.
My thing is that you like I'm sure there's obviously there's people that have similar properties in terms of what the sword can do, because at the end of the day the sword property is nothing crazy. What makes it so strong is because Zenon is so powerful. That is why it's so great, because obviously we got something similar in Black Clover, Dimension Slash. People are saying, oh yeah, this is like Dimension Slash or whatever, but we know Xenon is much more powerful than Yami. So I think it's beyond hacks. I think it's hacks plus power. So I think the biggest thing, I agree with you, Memento Mori, he has to avoid it. It's definitely more of a one hit KO type of technique compared to Xenon's Dan Slave. So he definitely has to avoid it, or at the very least, if he gets hit, he probably has to cut off a limb or something like that. He has to avoid it for sure. But I will say with his teleportation and his ability to think throughout the fight, especially Margier knows how to fight too, but so did Yuno. And the only reason why Yuno won, even though you may hate it or you might like it, is because another star showed up out of nowhere and Zenon got outplayed because of that. So
Oh,
Eventually he
I'll
caught
let you
Yuno.
go.
You said what?
Oh, I'll wait a second. There's a super chat I was gonna read. I'll let you finish.
Okay, last thing. I said eventually he did catch Yuno. Yuno was trying to avoid it as much as he could, but Yuno obviously had the magical 5th star that showed up and saved his life. So
Yes. Kimano says, when are we getting that Rax lore stream? I don't know about a lore stream. Sometimes I drop lore in videos, so I'll just drop Rax lore. Like right now, my poor crab is recovering because he has no fucking legs because of my cat.
oh damn.
I don't know if he's dead, but he stopped moving, and I think he's just molting because I've never had a crab before. And then my cat keeps crawling in there, and now he has no legs.
At this point, honestly, not gonna lie, if he has no legs, you probably should just put him out of his misery. Like, no cap.
Well, no, crabs grow their legs back.
I don't know.
If
I
his
never looked that up.
no, they'll grow back.
I mean, if that's the case, then it should be good. But
I mean, as
if
long as
not,
he's
then-
alive.
Fair, very fair, very fair.
I have no idea if he's still alive. I assume he is. He's just sitting there with no legs and all claws.
Well, if he's not eating, then that's definitely an indicator.
Well, no, he's molting, so he can't move. At least
Like,
if he
obviously.
is. Because I looked it up because he got super stiff, and like I'm sure you've had like a dead crab or a lobster or a crawdad or something. They just lose all. They're just floppy. It's like a dead animal.
Okay.
These ones are like this guy's like his legs were stiff. I mean, like his legs popped off because they couldn't move and they just applied pressure to him.
Okay.
I'm not putting in the stove, bud. He's a nice crab.
Some crab meat.
Oh, plus he kept trying to dig holes, so I think he was trying to hide himself to molt. I have no idea though.
Okay.
But anyway, I get distracted. But yeah, that was for Kinema. I give lore bits every once in a while. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, because like the thing, like Dance Leaf is good, but it's like it can one shot you. There's way more that you have to go through in order to get that one shot with Dance Leaf. Whereas like the rough thing about Mentamori is the fact that like the paralysis is the thing that makes it really unfair. Because if it was just like I just shoot this curse at an area and you could dodge or teleport, but like if it touches you and you're done. The thing that's gonna play more of a factor at that point would be in like I could see Zenon dodging Mentamori but teleporting, or Geer dodging that sword slash. But the thing is, like, when Geer used Mentamori, he didn't seem tired, he didn't seem taxed. He even like went out of his form and then immediately went back into his form, so it doesn't seem like it really takes much out of him. And after that point, I think all he has to really do is try and catch Zenon once.
I'm fine with that if he has to catch him once, but my thing is I can see Zenon winning this because at the end of the day, even though like Dance Leaf is very simple in terms of what it can do, it's very multi-purpose. You're fighting with it. You can use it at any point to kill your enemy in the fight itself. You don't have to strategize. No, if I hit you with this sword, you're dead. That's it, straight period.
But Geer went up against a sword fighter earlier in that arc, and he never got hit once.
But at the same time, he didn't go against someone like Zenon, especially how fast Zenon is with his spatial magic.
Oh, man,
Like,
Celestial Spirit King is super fast.
Yeah, but so is Yuno. And he did, even though Yuno had teleportation, he caught him. He did catch him eventually. It just Yuno had a 5th star that, Yuno was hiding or something, and then he was able to finally get one over on Zenon because Zenon thought he was going to win. So, I mean, there is a situation where somehow, possibly, if you can really, really, really outsmart him and put him in a trap, that I could see him like putting Zenon in a trap and then Memento Mori kills him. But you would have to be at death's door to like Zenon would. You would have to be just about to be able to avoid his attack. And the question is, can Geer do something like that?
But when we're talking about like, Zenon, Celestial Spirit, this was Geer like in base, and he hadn't even put the book down, and he's completely fine fighting somebody with the sword. Like he's not dumb. He knows what he's doing. He's just gonna like he's not gonna let I think Dance Leaf hit him. I think he's gonna just move around it, and he's like super agile. He's super maneuverable.
I
Um,
don't, I don't know because I don't know about that because it's not just Xenon swinging it. Because obviously this is going to be one of those cases where in order to avoid a momentum war, you would have to use his spatial magic too. So it's not like he's just using. It's not like he's just using his sword. By the way, he's also using his bones to kind of put him in the right position, and he also can use his pocket spaces to put Mark Gear off guard.
well,
Like, he can use a lot of things.
Marker can do that too, though,
Yeah,
and he did
I mean,
it. Uh-huh.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, like he can do it just fine though, and he doesn't really seem to mind just like large numbers. I mean, he was fighting multiple people at the same time. He's fighting people back to back. That's not
Yeah.
like, and I think for Xenon, I think Xenon's bone spam is not going to be that much of a worry for Gear. The same thing as I would assume Gear just spamming thorns is not going to be that much of a threat, considering it. Like they're pretty much fighting the same way that the other one does. So I don't see their regular styles being that unnerving.
No, what I'm saying is like once he breaks away from his regular styles, realizing both, I'm sure that this is not gonna be it, and they bring out their trump cards. That's when things kind of change because everything in combination with Danzig. It's not like I mean I doubt anything Margear has can just block his Danzig sword, so it's gonna change things up.
That depends, because I mean like the obvious gap between Part One Urza and Gear. But I mean, like she was doing fine taking dimension cutting slashes. I don't see what is going to be that threatening for Gear. Somebody way weaker than him was able to withstand these same attacks.
I disagree with that entire sentiment, saying it's the same attack. Like I said, it's hacks plus power.
I know, but you also but you have to keep in mind this this was way below. So when you look at that power, you're gonna scale. You're gonna look at obviously this was a much weaker Urza, but it's like Gear. The gap between that Gear and that Urza is huge.
I say the gap between Zenon and that Urza is also very huge.
Yes, but I mean that still existed. But I mean it's still a display that in terms of whatever their power system is, there is a way to resist abilities like that. Not fully, but I mean you're able to counteract them to degree. Because Urza wasn't taking as much surface damage, but she was taking some internal damage.
But so. I disagree with that because for even Black Clover that's true too, because we've seen people block or at the very least move Dimension Slash, but I don't see them doing that to Danzig because of how powerful Zenon is.
Well, hang on, we've never even. Here you go. I'll wait. You go.
I said unless you're more way more powerful than him, like Dante was against Yami, and I don't see you moving his Danzig.
I mean, we've never even seen somebody tank Dimension Slash, though. We've never seen we've never seen any characters in Black Clover tank a spatial damaging attack ever. Like even Langris, even though it didn't destroy the heart because he's not arcane, he was able to completely destroy that section of Zenon's body.
No, what I'm saying is we've seen someone move Yami's Dimension Slash, just move his attack.
But that comes down to how their powers work though, like gravity and warping space.
No, I disagree because I think if Yami was just as powerful as Dante, he wouldn't have been able to do that.
Oh, we don't know that though.
I mean, my thing is, that's a very potent attack, sure. But Dante, as an individual, was far stronger than Yami in terms of mana, general power. We know that for a fact, at the very least. So, that's what I'm saying. Other than, Asa, the only example of hacks being able to beat basically anyone, I think if Yami was...
Well, no, because we saw... Yami went up against Elf Charlotte. Elf Charlotte had more mana that he has, and he cut right through her giant Crimson Spear, and he cut Zagrid multiple times.
But I find Yami being I found Dante way more powerful than Yami for the Charlotte gap, and as for the Zagrid situation, he was distracted, so he had the perfect opportunity.
I know, but
if it was 1v1.
But we've seen like even in those cases, stuff like Zagrid, Charlotte, Zenon with Langres, the power gap doesn't seem to really do anything when it comes to spatial erasure. Like you would have to be somebody so much more powerful that it's like an Eisen thing where they just say nope to your ability. And we've never even seen that to something like spatial hacks in Black Clover.
Well, that's what I'm saying for Dante and Yami. I think that is the case. In the other situations, they were more powerful, but I didn't see the gap as prevalent compared to Dante versus Yami in that situation.
Yeah, but his only problem was because gravity warped space, so he warped Dimension Slash. He didn't just nope Dimension Slash. It just had to come down to how their powers work.
But what I'm saying is, if Yami was stronger, had more mana, or at the very least enough mana, then I think the power of his Dimension Slash would surpass Dante's ability to warp gravity.
See, the problem is we don't know how much of that really would play out, because we do know for a fact that there is a degree of rock paper scissors in Black Clover powers. Like you can counteract somebody way stronger than you if you directly counter it. Like Nozel and Dark Elf Patri. He completely noped him because he just countered him.
But that was counter plus perfect strategy. You need both in order to beat him.
Yeah, but Dante countered Dimension Slash.
Dante was just far, far, far more powerful than Yami.
I mean, he didn't nope all of his attack. Like he didn't even nope all of all of Yami's attacks. The only times he noped stuff like Dimension Slash was specifically because of spatial warping.
Well, he did nope Dimension Slash because we can definitely say this at the very least. If Dimension Slash hit Dante, do you think that would actually have like a lasting effect?
I mean, he would have healed.
But I mean, like he let every other attack hit him besides Dimension Slash.
Think about like I mean at that point, but I mean like he was already getting slashed and he would just heal. But I mean like even look like Jack showed that like even cutting his face is not going to do anything. But
eventually Jack hit a point where
that's just
he was overwhelming Dante.
But that's how Jack works. That's another thing though. Jack like Dante should just have way more mana, but Jack just counters him. Jack's ability was just able to work around him and it didn't have anything to do with power. It was just how there's no way that even 80% Dante has less mana than Jack.
No, I agree to that. I mean, like I said, there's a certain point. Obviously, Jax's hacks is one of those things where, very similar to Asta, where it's like the perfect hacks in a certain situation, because it keeps on getting stronger. Very similar to Mary Leone's attacks, it gets stronger as they fight. But my thing is with the Dante situation is, yeah, sure, we saw him like slash him a bunch and then he healed, but he purposely didn't want to get hit by Dimension Slash. Which actually, now that I think about it in hindsight, is very interesting, considering we did see what Dimension Slash did to Gred. So I wonder how that would have worked against Dante if he got hit by Dimension Slash.
I mean, if Dante didn't have body magic, he would have lost at the start. He would have lost multiple times over. Like he only was able to really get that point because of body magic. Like even the mana amount is a factor, but it's not too much of a factor. That like the only time we've ever seen like mana amounts be that much of a play in Black Clover is when the gap is so significant. Like Finral and Salamander Fauna. Like we haven't seen many occasions where it's just like this character's mana is just so much higher that it nulls out the other characters.
Right. But I mean, my point at the end of the day is not that Yami is not better than him in terms of fighting or anything like that. We all know that Yami, without the OP healing stuff, Yami would have washed Dante. But my point is, which I brought it up because I actually thought it's interesting now that I think about it, and it would make sense in hindsight, considering how well Dimension Slash worked on Zagred, who's also a person who could heal, is that he purposely didn't get hit by Dimension Slash, but he literally got hit by literally everything else Yami threw at him. So that's actually very interesting that he did not want to get hit by Dimension Slash specifically, and we've seen that he does do stuff specifically to not get hit by certain attacks. Even though Dante's an idiot, there's certain attacks he doesn't want to get hit with. Obviously, Asa's sword being a huge factor.
Did he ever say he didn't want to get hit by Dimension Slash?
He never said it, but that's the only attack you did something to avoid.
I mean, he warped. How many times did Dante, or not Dante, how many times did Yami use Dimension Slash in their fight? I remember the one. I only remember the one off the top of my head.
He used it once and realized that he can't hit him with it, so he changed his strategy.
What chapter was that? It's like 2.
That's when he switched over to Death Rush because he realized Dimension Slash wasn't gonna work.
It was too slow.
And he can't hit him.
Yeah, so, he's just warping around. I mean, I'm trying to see. I'm going back to chapters. I could have sworn he used it more than once. Yeah, he uses it. He's at the start of the fight. He uses Dimension Slash, and Dante mentions it. He says he slashed space apart. I don't think he ever mentions anything about being a threat to him. The only time he ever acknowledged anything that was a threat was anti-magic. Hello? Uh-oh. Hang on, it's lagging.
Not cut him. I mean, like, hit him. Like, what chapter is it?
I don't think he ever hit him with Dimension Slash. The fight starts in 246.
Alright.
Yeah, but I don't think Dante though was worried about it. There's no part where he expresses concern over Dimension Slash being a threat to him.
I disagree, considering he tried to avoid it. We literally only time he was concerned about anything was when he tried to avoid it.
But he just warped around it. Like it wasn't a factor for him.
If he can heal, then he didn't matter if it hit him or not. But he didn't want it to hit him. That's my thing.
He's just having fun.
He got hit by I don't know, because he literally got hit by every other attack, and it was just healing. So I really just disagree.
He didn't get hit by all the like Yami only hit him a couple times.
Yami hit him a lot, especially in the fight when Asa was helping him. He was getting hit a lot.
Yeah, like later, but I mean like before Asa showed up, like Yami only hit him like twice, 2 or 3 times.
Before Asa showed up, obviously Dante was actually fighting him, but then he was still also getting hit by the attack and getting saved by his healing magic.
And the only thing after that was he did the EI slash, and then he had do death thrust, and then Asta showed up. Because Dimension Slash is slow. That's like its whole weak point. Whereas like death thrust is fast, but it's not as.
He didn't allow himself to get hit by it.
Because he even goes up. He cuts. Actually, let me go look. I could have sworn he uses Dimension Slash a 3rd time. As that was when we were bringing up how he's starting to use it way more often. Let me see. I might be thinking of the anime scene.
And those might not be Dimension Slashes. And he still has the black slashes, just normal black slashes.
I just want to use it a 3rd time. I don't know. I don't know why Dimension Slash would be a threat to him with body magic.
Well, because Dimension Slash was a threat to the grid.
I mean, Dimension Slash was only a threat like if it hit his heart.
But it was a threat.
But Dante doesn't have. But Dante doesn't have a heart though, so like that factor doesn't really work.
But it definitely damaged his healing because he was having trouble kind of putting himself together.
Zagrid?
Yeah.
I mean Zagrid like later in the fight, but like Dante's way stronger than Zagrid. At least in terms of mana amount.
It damaged his healing.
It just slowed it down because he was already taking so much damage. Dante never had any of those problems.
But you never got hit by Dimension Slash.
I don't know why Dimension Slash would be a threat to him though. All because like Dimension Slash doesn't have any like after effect. It's just unfair cut, and I don't know why Dante would be able to heal after that because it's just gonna cut through him. It's not gonna cancel his magic. It's not gonna break his spells. It's just gonna cut him, and he can just heal from that.
Yeah, I disagree. I think there was something behind Dimension Slash. At the very least, it's hard to say if we'll ever see it because Yami might die. But to kind of get to the main point, also I think I'm a monitor channel. I don't want to block this person, but not from your channel. I want to block him from my channel, so I don't have to see him.
I have no idea. I don't remember. I haven't seen you in the chat once.
Disrespectful to me. No, it shows me I have mod powers, but I don't see nerd.
Oh,
but
you got an enemy in there.
Yeah, someone said I'm not reading it out, but he's trying to be disrespectful, so can't
Rude.
deal with disrespect.
Oh, Lord Hendrickson. He's always angry. I don't know why this guy's so crappy all the time.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what's his issue. You're
Mad.
lucky.
Maddie named himself after a background character in Seven Deadly Sins.
Right. But I think the kind of deciding factor between Zenon and Margear, because actually, after we talked about it, it definitely seemed like it would be a very close fight, and it really depends on how they use their trump card. I think Margear has the better trump card in terms of if it hits Zenon, whereas he can use it in a way that we've seen that defeated Zenon before, considering Zenon thought he was about to win, and then he got tricked, and then was able to slash him. Whereas it's harder for Margear because the reason why he lost is he had someone who had the perfect hacks against him, against Memento Mori, which is his trump card. It's not like blocked Dansliff. No, he was just avoiding it. Gray was dealing with Memento Mori, and there's two of them, so that one of them could be a distraction. So it's a little bit harder.
Well, hang on. I had three people. There was a Finral there for a little bit.
Yeah, but in terms of like the final battle, they were all Finral and Langris was.
Listen, Finral. If it wasn't for Finral and Langris, would be dead. Don't.
That is true. That is true.
We acknowledge all Finral feats out here.
That is fair. That is very fair. So with that said, Margear definitely has an edge in that retrospect, but I can definitely see if I don't agree with the aspect that Margear will be able to tank Dansliff. I think if he uses Spatial Rupture, it will kill Margear personally. But I can't see a way for him to. If he does avoid it and then get Memento Mori off, he could win.
I don't know. It's based off feats. And there's also something we brought up. We didn't talk too much about is the fact that Margear's normal attacks should be able, if landed, should be able to destroy the art, since it is a devil ability. It's not powered by magic. Should be the same as like any other devil or any other devil user using devil abilities.
I mean, that definitely helps him at the very least. Just like how Zenon's bones and his spatial ability can definitely trap Margear into a situation where he can get Dansliff off to kill him. Because at the very least, even though like one stab from the bones don't kill Margear, we did agree that if he keeps on using those pocket spaces, he definitely can deal eventually pretty lasting damage onto him. So
I mean, I think he could chip some damage down. Problem is when you lay that is it can take one attack. Like Margear, I think, has more win conditions by a good chunk. Because Zenon's regular attacks, I don't think are that threatening. Whereas like all of Margear's attacks have the kill potential.
I could definitely see that, but I think Zenon's attacks are just more useful in battle, in my opinion. Because like you said, the Thorns and Bones cancel out, but everything else he has, in combination with the spatial magic, is a big deciding factor in terms of what they can do.
I mean, mostly what he's gonna. I mean, his absolute space isn't gonna do much. But I mean, like, he's outside of Dansliff. Outside of Dansliff, I just don't really know what does Zenon really have that's that threatening outside of Dansliff.
Like I said, the Dansliff is the only one that could probably put him out of his misery. But the ability to teleport and the ability to trap him in pocket spaces can also lead him into traps. Could also damage him and lead him into a situation where he can kill him, cut his head off with Dansliff or something like that.
I mean, at that point, I don't know if he's gonna get lured in an emergency, like either putting up traps. I mean, he can teleport, but like his teleport for the most part, I don't see it being. It's useful, but I'd say it be more of like what had, where it's utility. It's not the win condition. It's more of a. It's just something that just for utility, for mobility.
But it's that plus, and it would be very useful against something like Memento Mori. But it's that plus you can create the pocket spaces, because his pocket spaces are one of the actually most deadliest things that he brought out, other than Dansliff.
Yeah, but I mean, like if he tries instead of to get out of Memento Mori by teleporting and he doesn't make it and he just gets touched, then he loses. There's when it comes to Dansliff is easier to handle. Dansliff is much easier to combat than Memento Mori.
No, but at the same time, I think he does avoid it nearly every time unless he puts him in a trap. Because literally, Natu, and Gray were looking around as the fog was coming to them. So I think he will avoid it every single time unless he's more gear.
I mean, Gray's Gray's a good example. Gray was there. Gray's a speed-based character, and he has ability that directly counters Curse's abilities, and he wasn't able to just do something to it. So it's not like it's slow.
But this is beyond speed. This is teleportation.
Teleporting is like fast movement, but you still have
instantaneous movement.
Yeah, but you still have to do it. And does his? I'm trying to remember. Isn't his more of like he makes a portal and goes through like Finral instead of like Yuno's? Doesn't he have to walk through?
I know, like 55%. That was definitely the case. But the speed of his spatial abilities definitely sped up. We know that for a fact, considering how fast his pocket spaces were. I mean, that's what I'm going off of. Like his pocket spaces were never that fast to the point where it was like instantaneously putting Yuno and Finral needed instant teleportation to get out of it. Instant teleportation.
Oh yeah, they're way weaker than he is. They're like tiers below. But
yeah, that's a speed thing, not a power thing. It was that fast.
Yeah, but for like his teleporting, can he just straight teleport? I can't remember off the top of my head. Can he just straight teleport, or does he need to make a portal?
I
think he has to make a portal walkthrough. I'm looking.
I know he has to. He has made portals to walk through them before. It's really hard because we never really see him use. He never needed to really use his portals in a fight. To be fair, but I'm really just going off based off. Even if he has to walk through the portal, I am really just going based off. He can open up these spatial portals.
If he opens up a portal, like Margaret can just put thorns in front of it and prevent him from going in.
Zenon's not slow.
It's nice as Margear.
Margear is not gonna see the portal to put up a spell before Zenon gets through his portal. I don't
put up a curse. Why?
No, I don't believe
he
that.
can't shoot. I can't shoot thorns before.
But Zenon will go. The portal will be right next to him. He's going into it before he's getting hit by thorns.
But he doesn't like Margaret can just make them go right there. He can just say thorns coming up right in front, right between these two.
But he can create. Not only can he create the portals instantaneously, he knows he's going to create it. So it's going to be create it, move before Margear is even going to think about. Oh, let me put a thorn there. So I don't agree that he can stop. I don't agree he can stop the portals.
But that's like the same. You were telling me the same argument, like that he would try and set something up. So I don't know why Margear couldn't set something up. Like, I don't know why he couldn't do combo strategy. If Xenon's using combo strategy.
No, I did say eventually that if he sets up a trap with Memento Mori, eventually, yeah. But in terms of like, what's the
fastest Xenon's gone through in his portals? Like to dodge an attack. Does he use them? Does he use them in combat? I can't remember him using them in combat.
We actually never seen him using the combat, to be fair. Man. But at the very least, we've never seen an attack as deadly as Memento Mori go up against them.
I think he'd use it. I don't think that his.
I don't think he would just not use it if Memento Mori is about to.
Oh, I think he can use it, but I don't think that his teleporting is as good. I don't think it's as nearly as fast as like his box. So I don't see him getting out of there in time.
Well, the box is literally just an instantaneous like spatial ability. So I don't see why his portal wouldn't also be an instantaneous, especially considering like we're comparing 55% in how he opened portals versus Devil Heart Zenon, and I would say they're at bare minimum on par in terms of speed. So
we have no idea about like what full power Zenon, Devil Heart Zenon can do with portals. As far as we know, he opens portals up and he walks through them.
Yeah, that is very fair. This is speculation at the end of the day, but this is a speculative fight with factors that Zenon never encountered. So that's why I brought it up. Like, if it wasn't in his arsenal, I wouldn't bring it up, but it is in his arsenal, and he's a smart fighter, which is why I bring it up.
It's like, see, the problem with that, though, is, like, now it's, like, becoming one of the biggest factors in the fight if he teleports outside of Memento Mori, but it's, like, something we haven't really seen. It would be like, if, I'll just use an example. It'd be like Allegrega turned the cube into a giant demon and merged people with it. As far as I know, he can only do that to the cube. It's restricted and not like he can just use it against other things. We never saw him try and use it again, but I don't think it would make a lot of sense to give him things he's never shown without like enough evidence.
I don't agree with that comparison, to be honest, because I don't know about whatever demon that you brought up. We don't even know how powerful it is, how it will fight in the situation. We know we know portals, and we know how easy they can be used. And it's like like Dragon Ball Z with Goku. Like before, you would never use instant teleportation to fight. Really, like he used it sometimes, but now in Super, he uses it consistently. So, and like in a situation where you need to use it, you will use it, considering it's part of your arsenal.
Well,
and it's as simple as creating a portal and going right through it.
But that's a much stronger Goku. That's like way.
Yeah, this is a much stronger Zenon versus 55% Zenon.
But like, think of the gap between. But like, think of the gap between Goku first getting instant transmission to now.
No, even until the end of Dragon Ball Z. Like,
and on top of that,
Goku, he wasn't using it.
And instant transition is a power level thing. It's a focus thing.
Yeah, and he was not using it in battle ever. And it wasn't until Super he started using it in battle.
He got better in using it in combat because it's a focus thing. You have to be focused to use instant transmission. It doesn't have anything to do with power levels.
Zenon became more powerful eventually,
but we don't know how much his. Because, like, by that same thing, it's like his bones should be, like, he should be able to do, like, 10 times more bones, way bigger, make way crazier things. But, like, for the most part, when he got Devil Heart, it was, most of his spells were the same except Dance Slave. Once he got Dance.
No, that's why I also disagree at that point, because we have to look at how he fights. He doesn't fight with huge, big, trunk-like bones. He fights with bones in terms of how fast they can pierce their opponent. That's why I say the piercing power, I would argue, has increased dramatically versus how it was before.
I mean, I get that, but it's like we never saw like outside of his box, like none of his abilities got a more like a significantly more dramatic boost. Like he did.
I think they all increased in their effectiveness. Like there's really no other change that you need to see. All of them just became much more effective abilities. The only thing you can really say that definitely helped him when he got his Devil Heart, other than Danslip, of course, is his healing ability. Other than that, everything just became more powerful and more effective.
Yeah, but I mean, I know, but at the same time, it's like how much, where in this are we going to be able to gauge like his upgraded portal usage? I don't think that's something that, especially like if it was something that was way more minute in the fight, I could agree. But I mean, the fact that it's directly in an idea of how Zenon gets out of Margear's trump card, I don't think it's very viable considering we don't have anything, and it is directly like a end of fight scenario factor.
But yeah, it's like one of those situations where Memento Mori is one of those things where you have to avoid it because it's so powerful. Zenon never faced off against that, so it's really hard for us to say Zenon would never use that in a fight, or he wouldn't use it strategically in a fight. And I'm really just comparing it to how he uses his spatial magic just in general. Creating pocket spaces are relatively the same, if not harder, than creating the portals.
Well, no, because his box, he's just making portals around them to shoot bones in. And he does his bone stuff all the time, like making little portals. That's way different than making like a full portal that's connecting two locations rather than like he's a set. Because like his cube is pretty much monozone. His cube is literally pretty much just like a better monozone.
But he's creating several bones and several little pocket spaces to put those bones in, and a pocket space itself to trap the person in.
But that's way different.
Much more complicated than creating two portals.
I'll know because like when you're connecting two different points in space versus like his boxy is essentially connecting one point in space.
No, he's surrounding him.
Yeah,
and trapping him in this spatial area. So he's trapped in a spatial area because of the spatial magic. On top of that, he's creating also because of the entire thing is trapped in a spatial area. All the bones that is connected to him is going through that space, so it's still connecting 2 points.
Well, he's doing it through monozone. I don't think the ones at that point came through his body. The ones that like were from the box. I don't think those ones come from his body. I think that's the point of the box. Is because all his other bones, besides his box, all his other bones come from him. The only other time where it's like he can make bones appear out from outside his body, at least not originating from his body, is with his box, which also for some reason doesn't have a name for some reason.
I don't know about that. I guess that's one of those other points where it's hard to argue either way. I don't know about that because you could definitely argue literally either way, to be honest.
Maybe. I don't know. I think that, like I said, if it was way more of a minute thing, I could see. But the fact that his teleport is like one of the biggest factors now in the fight, and I mean, as far as we know, he makes a portal. He walks through it, and I don't see what's stopping Geer from trying to interfere with that. Because he wouldn't even have to be like, I make a direct wall-shaped set. He could literally just attack in front of him and just try and say, like, I'm going to prevent you from trying to get in there. Like, he wouldn't even have to be precise or do anything crazy. He could literally just say, like, attack this general area to, like, buy a second.
Yeah, I completely disagree with the aspect of it being that simple. One, obviously, Zenon can counteract with his bones. Two, he can create another portal like he creates these pocket dimensions instantaneously. He can create another portal as well. Three, I think when he creates the portals and knows he's creating a portal, I think he's doing that fashion, and Geer can come up with the idea of stopping him. So I completely disagree. Like, if it was someone like weaker and less intelligent, sure, but Zenon is not one of those people.
I mean, but Geer doesn't have to. He doesn't even have to really know where he's going. He doesn't have to really try and figure out the ability. He just has to know, like, this guy's trying to go into this portal. Stop him. Throw attack.
Zenon's also thinking on the fly in the battle as well. We've seen multiple times how Zenon accustoms himself throughout the battle. He's always aware of, hey, this is my next step to try to achieve victory. So, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that simple for Geer.
I mean, at that point, it's at the very end of the fight. I don't really see it'd be that simple. But I mean, like, it's if it comes.
No, I'm saying where he just sees it and just stops him from going to the portal, and then Zenon's like, "Oh, I got stopped," and then gets hit by Memento Mori.
Well, I mean, like,
if he sets up a trap, sure, but I don't think it's that simple.
I mean, I don't think Zenon's gonna get, like, if he blocks it, he can try again. But I mean, he's on limited time, and on top of it, like, Geer can keep spamming his attacks the same way that Zenon can, and all it really would take at that point is stop him from going into this big doorway that he makes.
But I think Zenon's ability to create his pockets and knowing that he's about to do that, and the speed of how he creates the pockets is going to be enough for him to avoid that.
Geer's extremely fast. He fought Gray is legitimately, like, emphasized on speed, like, every time. He's a speed-based fighter. And Geer was just fine, like, dodging around his attacks, dodging a bloodlusted celestial spirit king who came from freaking space to fight this man.
But we're not talking about Geer's dodging. And two, I don't know if I would agree to the aspect of Geer being able to unlock an attack faster than Zenon can create portals. I mean,
he doesn't have to. It's not that he has to create it. Like, Zenon could put the portal up, about to move. Geer sees that it happens. Both of them use an ability. One uses the portal, one uses the thorns. Geer doesn't have to move at that point. Zenon would still have to try and get into his portal.
He moves before he creates the portals and goes into it the moment it goes in.
But every time we've ever seen him make a portal, he puts the portal up and he walks through like it's a normal, like the same as like Finral's.
He was never in a battle situation, and two, he was never concerned about the opposing force.
But we've never. I know, but you're like, he
wouldn't walk in the middle of the battle. That doesn't make sense. He wouldn't just walk it into it.
What, like walk into the portal?
He goes like, portal shows up. I'm in the middle of a fight, so let me just walk into the portal.
No, I mean, I don't think he's literally gonna casually walk, but so like, both of them have to use an ability, but there's a second step. Zenon has to move after he uses his ability. Like he's using it. He could use it mid movement, but there's a factor that he has to get through this portal after he casts. Or Geer doesn't have to move. He just has to attack. There's more steps for Zenon having to get out of range than Geer has to block.
I don't agree to that.
Think of it like this.
Simple as
I think like this. You're in a room. I'm about to fill up the room with toxic gas. I have to press a button. All you have to do is leave the room, but you also have to you have to unlock the door. So you have an extra set of things you have to do in order to prevent me from doing the one thing that if I get it off, I win.
No, I don't think it's that simple. It's for this situation, he knows that this fog is coming. We know that he can create.
He doesn't know what it does though. He just knows
But he
it's
knows
something.
it's coming. I didn't say he knows what he does. I said he knows the fog is coming. He knows it's coming. He knows that he's about to create a portal and leave. So the moment he creates it, he's already about to enter it. Like instantaneously, all this happened in instantaneous speed.
Well, he does.
Then
What?
you-
Wait,
when
what?
you-
Hang on. Instantaneous speed. He's not.
the,
He doesn't
the
move
portal-
instantaneously.
the portal's getting created instantaneously. Him moving, not instantaneous, but he knows the portal's coming instantaneous. So he's already on his way to go into the portal.
When is he?
So-
When has he made one of his portals instantaneously? Like-
With the pocket spaces. I literally am always
That's-
comparing it to the pocket
That's
spaces.
two different. That's two different spells.
It's literally the same. It's the same speed of creating spaces. Like I don't know.
Well, no. One is creating a doorway between 2 points in space, and one is pretty much monozone around his opponent.
No, you can't say pretty much. He's literally creating a little pocket space. It's literally the same thing.
Yeah, but all it does is essentially what monozone does, where you can just attack somebody from multiple directions. It is
But
a
that's
it
not
is
what
it is
It's
it is a
pocket
better.
space.
But
No, it's a pocket space.
it is
though.
it is a
You
bet.
can't change it to fit your narrative.
No, I'm saying fundamentally it is a better monozone. How it works is pretty much the same but better. But
No, how it works is a pocket space. He creates a little pocket space, traps someone inside that pocket space, and all sides of the bones come through and stabs the person. It's still a pocket space he creates.
but how is that
No,
how is
I
it the
don't
same thing as like a portal that he's going into a different
Because
location?
he's creating. Because when it comes to pocket
I don't know
spaces,
about that, man. That's a whole different spell.
I think it's.
That's
because he's still just creating. He's still just creating a space, a spatial ability. That's
So,
that's
not-
literally all he's doing.
all of Langris's spells aren't the same. All his Finral spells aren't the same. Just because he's using spatial magic doesn't mean that like
No,
every
I
spatial
think-
magic is the same.
I think they're all the same speed when he does them. When he creates
no,
a
'cause,
spatial ability, I say they're all the same speed. Now the thing, if this is what you're gonna say, because I'm talking about its activation. I'm not talking about when it's used in the fight. I'm talking about its activation speed. I'm not talking about anything else. I think they're all the same speed in terms of activating this spatial ability.
Well, no, no, because even in that statement, he has defeats to say like the speed of his box, but he can't really compare his portal speed to it when his portal speed has literally never been in any way indicated at being like as fast as his box. Where it's like his box every time has been shown to be a speed based attack. It's always done that. Like every time it's ever been used, it's emphasized on this is a fast attack.
We've only seen it. We've seen the portals used in a nonchalant situation. We've seen the pocket spaces being used with the Devil Heart, obviously.
I know, but
and
in that same argument, like why didn't he teleport when teleported behind him?
because he was outsmarted. He couldn't. He was done. It was done. So
I mean,
outsmarted. He lost.
But he even knew Yuno was behind him at that point. If he
was already reacting. Teleportation was the only reaction to his speed.
If-
he lost.
But if Zenon in this moment, directly behind him, if Zenon could have created a portal and just walked through or jumped through or whatever, he would have, but he couldn't.
But if he was like stable, but he thought he won, he slashed in the moment of his slash, and in the moment of his momentum, Yuno's already behind him, slashing him again. He's dead. He did not have time to create a portal at all in that situation.
So let's stop Margaret from just put Memento Mori up the second Zenon swings his sword.
I told you, I've been telling you, if he creates the perfect trap, he could beat Zenon. I've said that. I've said that multiple times.
I don't think he even needs that crazy of a trap. Like I said,
The creative trap to trick Zenon? I definitely think he needs a creative trap.
Zenon's not the best at dodging.
Zenon literally couldn't dodge. Yuno could teleport, and he did not know about the fifth star. Like,
well, hang
you
on.
gotta keep that in mind.
Zenon,
Showed up out of nowhere.
Hang on, he stood there when Yuno shot laser beams at him. When we fought those
Because
star beams.
he knew those things couldn't kill him.
How did he know that at that point?
Because
He
those
did-
weren't
he did-
state.
he
Those
did-
weren't saint days. Those weren't arcane.
How did
Arcane
he
came
had
out.
no idea if this thing was arcane or not.
Bro, come on, bro.
Well, hang on.
He
That's-
literally got hit by Langris's spatial ability, and it did nothing.
Well, it's because he saw it happen. He knew what happened. He said, "Okay, well, you guys are arcane." Well, that's another thing. Like you can hit him. He's not. He's very confident in his healing. He's not going to dodge that much. But like I said, and I think we should probably wrap it up soon. It's been like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
and we can continue at a different date or whatever. But I think at least from what it came down to, I don't agree with the portals considering like he never used it in a fight like this, and there's nothing to suggest that he could the same way. It's not one of those things where like if say like Finroll or somebody said like, oh, his portals are way better than mine, like his portal speeds or whatever, I'd say like, yeah, okay, that's somebody who logically can do that. Complimenting this guy is saying like, yeah, he should be able to do that. But I mean, the fact that he hasn't shown it in like a quick response kind of way, and it's like the biggest. It's like his only defense against Memento Mori. I personally don't think that Zenon would be able to get it off in time. But we can save it for like a different, maybe a different discussion. Maybe get some more insight.
I mean, we kind of laid out everything. You know, you laid out your final point. You know, for me personally, I personally do have like, this is one of those situations where there's a person not only who doesn't use magic, but also you has abilities that can actually harm Xenon. So it's a different scenario. So you're gonna have to use everything in your repertoire. Xenon never been in a situation where he had to deal with something like that. So obviously, I think for him to use something that he has and used multiple times, I think he would use it to avoid certain situations. As for Mark Gear, there's a few things I disagree with as well. I do think Danzliff definitely could kill him. And as for the bones, I don't think it's. I do think the bones can do quite a bit of damage on him if it hits him. Obviously, he can counteract with thorns, but I'm talking about his little pocket spaces. So it's one of those situations. You know, we laid out all the feats. Obviously, I would say we laid out everything, and based on the situations we've seen, if we're trying to be if I'm being objective here, yeah, I definitely would say the edge goes to Gear because of the situation, and he has better Memento Mori is much more threatening, of course, and obviously the situation he was in, fighting two people, fighting someone who can absorb his Memento Mori versus had a perfect arsenal, but it wasn't as like hacks. Oh, he had the perfect hacks to absorb his attack type situation. So I do say Gear has the edge in terms of like in general, if I'm being completely objective, especially since he has Memento Mori. But if other insight or any other things get brought out, I guess we could revisit. But I think we kind of laid everything out at this point.
Listen, man, it's all fun and games until the rival character gets a second magic.
Yeah, but I do think Zenon can beat. I think there is situation like if we were all right. Let's wrap it up like this. Out of 10, you know, I think a lot of people do this. Out of 10, what do you have Mark Gear?
I see Mark Gear winning 7 out of 10.
Okay, since I gave Mark Gear the edge, I said 6. So honestly, just one point difference. Honestly, not too bad.
That big factor we didn't talk about too much. It was just like Mark Gear having that base ability that of being able to potentially destroy Xenon's heart is a real rough thing. Yeah. I mean, there was some other things in there. I mean, like the absolute space obviously to be a non-factor. Gear's ability to absorb light and dark magic has absolutely zero value here whatsoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, at least for the first one, I wanted to do it more like this instead of yelling and talk about feats and who blitzes who. Figured it'd be more entertaining.
Yeah, and a lot of fights end up with like who blitzes who type situations in the first place. But
well, that's because speed debates are absolutely the worst type of versus debates.
I agree. But for the most part, yeah, I think this was a good discussion. Very
Yeah, anybody in the comments, if you have questions about for myself or Faith, just add us on Twitter. You can look at the RTLFaith at twitter.com. Any Twitter celebrity. I don't have a Twitter. I'm not famous enough yet. I'm working on it. But yeah, outside of that, hope everyone has a good night. We're gonna wrap it up. Maybe if you want to have another match, comment what you want in the comments. I can see anybody else that wants to show up, defend their character, somebody that's gonna be well versed in whoever is the on each side, a well versed backer for each character, pretty much. So I got the number 1 Zenon stan here.
I am not a Zenon stan.
We'll let the people decide that one.
I am the only stan I will accept is Aaron Yeager. Aaron
What about
Yeager. I really like Yuno, but I'm not a Yuno stan.
You'd stand Aaron over even after
Aaron's
Star
my,
Magic. Hold
Aaron's my
on,
favorite
hold
character of
on,
all.
hold on. Yuno's gonna get gold for him. You gonna tell me you're gonna pick Aaron over gold?
Aaron's my favorite character of all time. Yeah, if I make a top 10 characters, probably would fall latter 10. What do you even hit top 10? I don't even know. I don't even know if he'll hit top 10.
Listen, when
But
we'll talk when gold comes out.
okay, we'll see.
Goldo, Goldo. Yes, that's what it was.
Hey, I'm excited to see what happens with the Lucifaro situation. I had my prediction. I think I told Rex. I did my prediction video.
Oh, they're gonna get bodied so bad.
See, like I had this one guy on my comment section. He's like, "Oh, I mean, I'm not worried about it, but I thought it was pretty funny." He's like, "Oh, you said Lucifaro loses. I hate this clickbait. He lost a subscriber." I'm like, "Bro, did you even watch what I said for my prediction video? Because literally, all it is it's very possible that an opening is created for Asta. He hits Lucifaro, he loses, but is not defeated. That's my biggest point. Because the second Supreme Devil is there. And I do think if Lucifaro was about to lose, he would save his life and then leave.
Potentially. The thing though right now is just like when I realize that none of the captains are arcane. It's like they're gonna get bodied really quick.
I think Marileona is the only one probably could do pretty decent damage. I don't see at the very least Fuegoleon has a spirit. Dorothy has Dream World. I don't even know what that's gonna do in this situation.
Man, she lost to Morris. I don't know if she's gonna fight here.
To be fair, Morris had reconstruction magic, so it completely countered.
Man, I don't know anything that Morris would have advantage wise over Lucifaro, but we'll see.
It was a tax thing, is all I'm saying.
And on top of that, they're on borrowed time. It's like a real spell goes down, they're done.
Oh yeah, if they get beaten to the point of death, then the moment real spell gets deactivated, Mimosa has to show up and save everybody again.
I mean, even right now, if real spell went down, then they're back on the floor.
Oh yeah, 100%. Real is literally keeping everybody up.
Told you, sport wizard. I told you.
You never know. Real might bring out the ultimate. Also, by the way, I made this video a long time ago about Vanessa potentially doing something crazy this arc. I said, and I quote, and you can definitely there's the videos on my channel. I said, what if Vanessa dies? And the way Vanessa dies is she sacrifices her life to save everybody from death with her cat and her fate.
That'd be so strange to kill Vanessa off, right? I mean I'm for it, but we'll see. There's a lot of
that they have Vanessa here, kind of looking like Yami's in trouble. It's like they're trying to foreshadow something with Vanessa, low key.
I hope so. I mean, I'd like to get Vanessa to do something. Anyway, yeah.